Am I the asshole for not letting my husband use my stuff? I, 43 female, have been with my husband, 40 male, for 15 years. Kids, dog the lot. My husband is the definition of manchild. And he's terrible with looking after his things. For instance, his brand new pushbike he left outside work unlocked and it was stolen 4 days after he got it. Every mobile phone he's ever had, somewhere around 6/7, he's broken in one way or another. Dropped it, sat on it, fell into a vat of boiling water at work, the list goes on. His laptop after 6 months randomly stopped working too. Me, I'm the opposite. I'm careful with my things cause I don't want to have to replace them. Like most people. I have an iPad, which he uses. An iPad that has now a smashed screen and glitches on occasion which he claims he had nothing to do with. Insert eye roll here. An iPad that incidentally I used to use for work until it was broken. I also have a mobile phone that I've had 4 years without a single scratch and my MacBook Pro. When I got my MacBook Pro, I did say that no one, and I mean no one, was to touch or use it. Especially without asking first. It has a lot of important stuff on it and I use it for work too. I came home from a trip yesterday and saw my husband sat on the sofa with it watching a movie with our 9-year-old son. I didn't say anything at the time. I waited till later and simply said, "Please don't use my laptop. You use everything else but please just not my laptop." He got annoyed and said I was being possessive about an object. I pointed out he could have used the option to watch the movie on the TV through the iPad. This morning, my husband announces the screen on his mobile phone. A replacement phone I gave him, it was my old one, for the phone he had before that smashed. Shocker, I know. Well, the current phone screen is black even though it's turned on. So it's buggered. He then announces that he's taking the iPad to work with him to listen to music and use on his break. The already broken and fragile iPad that I paid for. I said it was a bad idea and it'll only end up more broken. He works in a busy kitchen with lots of people coming in and out. He said he would look after it and I pointed out he's never looked after anything else and that's why everything he's had is broken. He threw the iPad on the sofa and stormed out saying I was being an asshole. So am I? I paid for that iPad 4 years ago to use at work. And yes, I refused to pay for it to be fixed because I got my MacBook instead and decided if I really wanted to I'll buy an updated iPad if needs be. Edit. To those saying why have I stayed married for so long to him or choosing to stay married to him. Because we are married, we made a commitment and we are in love even after 15 years. So carelessness aside, to leave a somewhat happy marriage and break up an entire family for something realistically small would be stupid in my eyes. Sure, it's frustrating and annoying as hell, but marriages require work and compromises and sometimes disagreements to make them work. I've been married previous and it was a truly awful marriage. But the one I'm in is filled with a whole lot of love. I just also happen to want to throttle him from time to time. He's not controlling, not abusive, never looked at another woman. He talks to everyone at work about me and our kids to the point everyone knows me before I meet them and they all tell me how proud he is of his family. He texts me repeatedly during the day to tell me he loves me and asks how my day is. He has raised an autistic child from 1 year old that wasn't his but tells everyone he is and goes to his school events to cheer him on. So would I really leave him all because he's shit with looking after stuff? Not the asshole. I bet someone will diagnose him with something. Not the asshole. I noticed you said he threw the iPad on the sofa, so no wonder he breaks everything he touches. May I suggest you set a password on your laptop so he can't use if he ignores your instructions? Won't stop him from sitting on it or tossing it, but it's a start. Not the asshole. This is why he can't have nice things. You're not an ass, dear friend. Set boundaries, because self-respect is important. Ownership does not equate selfishness. After all, nothing is really ours in this infinite universe. But while we're here, it's cool to have our own cool things. Enjoy. Not the asshole, he doesn't need any of those things for work, he wants them and breaks them while using them. You on the other hand need them for work and don't break them. It's not okay for him to think because it's his. Am I the asshole for sulking at my own birthday dinner? First time ever posting on Reddit, so sorry if I do it wrong. I, F20, my mother, F44, and my brother, M17, went out for my birthday dinner a couple of days ago. For some context, I have pretty bad social anxiety. Public meals make me very nervous. I time to mentally prepare when going out. I also have been sick lately, so one of my ears is totally blocked and I struggle to hear things, even more anxiety. For my birthday I didn't ask for much, just a homemade carrot cake. My mother is a professional baker, and dinner at a nice Indian restaurant nearby. I didn't get the carrot cake, which is fine. The oven was broken, totally understandable, and the store-bought cake I got was pretty nice. I got a few presents, knick-knack sort of things, which I also greatly appreciated. When driving to the restaurant, my mother said she had decided we were going to go to a Thai restaurant instead. That's fine, I love Thai. But mental preparation out the window, and I'm now nervous to be in a setting I wasn't expecting. She also stated that since she was paying she would order. We typically order 2-5 dishes and share it with the whole table. Also fine, I usually trust what she orders. Before ordering, my mother told us she was getting 3 separate dishes. One I wasn't familiar with, one I knew that I loved, and a seafood dish. I told her straight away that I didn't like seafood and if we could get something else to share. She said no, insisting that I did like seafood. I don't. When she ordered, instead of getting the one dish I liked, she ordered a salad instead. I was confused and asked her about it and she dismissed me. While we waited, my mother was getting annoyed at me because I was speaking too quietly. But it was a small, but crowded restaurant, and I couldn't hear myself properly due to the blocked ear, so I couldn't measure my own volume, so I was talking quieter to accommodate. She only got more annoyed when I explained that, even though my brother said he could hear me fine. When the food arrived, I looked at all 3 dishes and knew I didn't like any of them and was immediately disappointed. I sort of shut down, going quiet and eating and giving minimal responses. I kept stewing as we ate that this was supposed to be for my birthday and why did I have to eat food I knew I wouldn't like. I also kept telling myself not to be selfish and just enjoy it, because I knew if I made a fuss my mother would lose it. After we finished and back in the car to go home, my mother asked me what was wrong. And I said I was upset that I hadn't gotten the cake I wanted, and that I hadn't even wanted Thai in the first place. As predicted, she exploded, calling me selfish and ungrateful because she spent all that money on a meal that she wanted. I cried on the way home, and now we are on day 3 of her not speaking to me. I still live with her. We fight a lot, but this feels extreme. It never lasts more than a few hours. I don't think I need to apologize here, but do I? Not the asshole and return the favor. Treat her to your favorite food on her birthday. It's your party, you can cry if you want to. Not the asshole, your mom is awful. Hopefully you can find a way to move out and get space from her soon. I have the feeling this is the tip of the iceberg. Ain't it the asshole? Your mother is a major one. She is selfish, narcissistic and abusive to you. Get out of that house and away from her ASAP. She's very toxic. Am I the asshole for no longer paying rent on an apartment I haven't lived in for more than a year? I, 31 female, was living in an apartment with a friend, 31 female, for a few years until I got a cancer diagnosis. My parents lived nearby and they wanted me to come stay with them while I was recovering from surgery. I continued paying rent because it was originally only meant to be for a few months at most, and I didn't want to screw over my roommate, especially because we live in an expensive area. It ended up being way longer than a few months. I had some other health issues after the original surgery recovery, and then there was reconstructive surgery upcoming and I'd need help again after that, and then my parents had health issues of their own and I wanted to stay to help them in return. After all that, I found myself dragging my feet on moving back and realized I didn't really want to go back to living with my roommate. I finally ripped the band-aid off and told her I'd be moving out officially after more than a year. Our old lease was expiring, so I told her I just wouldn't be signing a new one and I'd take my time moving out to give her plenty of time to figure things out. I dragged out my moving out over 4 months, taking my time moving things out slowly and selling off my old furniture. I moved the last of my stuff out of the bedroom a few weeks ago and told her it was all hers. She hadn't talked to me at all since then and I thought everything was settled until she texted me today asking for the new month's rent like it was a given. Apparently she'd done nothing to prepare for this in the 4 months since I told her I was moving out. No roommate search, no saving up, nothing. She blamed me for it, saying she couldn't look for a new roommate since I wasn't fully moved out yet and she didn't know when I'd be out. She said she didn't realize I meant I was officially out when I said the place was hers because I'd still left some stuff in the kitchen and basement and hadn't given her the key. The key is my bad since I forgot I still had it, and I don't even remember what I might have in storage in the basement after so long. But I left the kitchenware on purpose since she used it. I asked what was the point in taking my time moving out and giving her an extra 4 months of rent if she wasn't going to save up or look for a new roommate until I was fully out anyway. She says she couldn't save any money in that time because she'd had to go to the hospital and had to pay the hospital bills, but she just bought herself a new smart bed when moving into my old room, so I think that's just an excuse. I eventually got tired of arguing with her. This was all over text. So I just drove over and told her I'd left the key in the mailbox and she could throw out anything of mine she didn't want. I can accept some blame for forgetting to give her the key or apparently not making it clear enough that I was officially moved out, but I feel like she should have used the last few months to prepare for this somehow and just used me as an excuse to put it off. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You seem to have acted fair and reasonable. Hope you make a full recovery. Did you get yourself taken off the lease? If not, perhaps follow up with the letting agent, as you are still liable for costs until your name is removed. I am in Australia, maybe laws are different where you are. Info: what communication did you have with the landlord about your move out? The landlord would want a date certain for the move out. Not the asshole, you were more than fair and fulfilled your part of the lease. It's on her now. Wishing the best for you and your family. Info: did you give notice to the landlord of your intention to vacate the premises? Technically, you're still on the lease. Info: at what point was the lease up? If you didn't resign the lease, obviously you can't be expected to pay past the end of the lease you were on. Was all your property out by the end of the lease? Am I the asshole for not enrolling my daughter in driver's ed? My daughter turns 16 in January. In our state you can take driver's ed starting at 15. It's not available through the school, only through private driving schools. My daughter also plays a year-round sport, through her school and a club. This takes up a lot of my time as she has practice 4 or 5 days a week, and then the weekends and weeknights are taken up with tournaments. Back in March her mother, we are divorced, emailed me about signing her up for driver's ed in the spring during her dead period, which I guess is like a 6-8 week period between the end of club season and the start of the summer league for school. She said something about how my daughter would be really busy starting in June with summer league and fall ball and club and wouldn't be able to take the class until next May. Anyway, I ignored the email like I ignore about 98% of her emails because I don't really want to talk to her. We do have joint decision making, so neither of us can enroll my daughter in the class without agreeing with each other. So a month or so went by and the mother emailed me again asking about driver's ed. My daughter was injured and missing the rest of her club season, so she said now would be a good time to enroll her into the class and get it out of the way before summer league started. I ignored her. Then another month later my daughter asked the mother to email again because she was still hurt and wanted to get her class out of the way. Since I hadn't answered the emails, I guess she was pretty annoyed, so she told me that if I didn't answer by June 1st she was going to enroll my daughter in the class of her choosing and bill me for my portion. Well, I didn't want her to make the choice by herself, so I emailed her with a class one had found that ran from 10-3 3 days a week during the month of July. She emailed me back and said that wouldn't work because she had practice 10-2 every day. She found a class that runs 1-3 on Saturdays and Sundays. She doesn't have practice or games then in the summer, and I said that I wasn't willing to give up my weekends, so that wouldn't work. I found a class that was in the afternoons from 3-6, but the mother said that wouldn't work because she has games on Wednesdays and has to catch the team van at 5:30. I told her that we could ask the coach to just hold the van for her while she finished class. She again brought up the weekend class and I said no because it wasn't fair for me to give up my weekends for driver's ed. So then I emailed her about a class that starts in September that starts in the evening after her practices get out. But the mother said that wouldn't work because her games are twice a week at 7 p.m. I told her she could just skip the games on the days she had class. She said that class wouldn't work and again said the only class that would work would be the weekend class, which I again said no to. I told my ex-wife that it shouldn't be so hard to find a driver's ed class, but my daughter's schedule was so full. So am I the asshole? 100% you are the asshole. Why are you making your daughter suffer so that you can ignore your ex? You still have a responsibility to make parenting decisions in a timely manner. Grow up. You are the asshole. Your post is only concerned with yourself, your time, your wants. You don't have to work with your ex if you don't want to, but you do have to work with your daughter. Talk to her on when she wants the classes or teach her yourself. It's most likely going to have to happen on your time since you have the weekends. Are you serious? There is no gray area here, you are 100% ta. You are the asshole. Why didn't you do it in the requested time frame? If you want to be a joint decision maker, then you have to step up and make the decisions. You are the asshole. And exhausting. Your poor daughter.